Good morning from Seattle. Good afternoon to the rest of the country. Happy Friday, I guess it is. If you're in Seattle, not much really changes over the weekend, especially if you're downtown. We're still pretty locked up from the pandemic. Stores, shops, restaurants, those type of things are still not open as yet. Now on month 4 of the pandemic shutdown. One comment I will make about Seattle is it's picking up some bad news nationally, almost as if there's mass looting and riots, etc. That's not true. It's not going on. I live downtown Seattle. It's very safe. There's no disruption taking place going on in downtown Seattle. We certainly are protesters, and the protests most of the protests are about 6-9 blocks up the street from me in the Capitol Hill area, but there's not looting or mass rioting or anything like that I'm hearing from my friends is being broadcast across the country. Today I'm talking about a news aggregator called Feedly. So if you went to the web, you would see something by Googling Feedly and come up with feedly.com. So if we go to it, and you can get it on an app, you can get it on your desktop. All you got to do is do a search for Feedly and come to it. And it's important for bloggers. You're going to see a page that says goodbye to information overload. This is going to make information easy for you to aggregate and digest and use as a blogger. And most people don't understand the concept of blogging is to be able to enter into conversation by using other people's information. So to do that, you're going to need something that's going to collect and organize the information for you. And that's Feedly. It is called a news aggregator. A news aggregator is going to collect sources and it's going to collect subjects. A source is a blog, a news column, that type of thing. It's a defined source that is providing different types of information. A subject might be a word or phrase, a term of art, a regulation, a case, a code, anything like that. So you can follow sources in Feedly, but you can also follow subjects. What do I mean? So I'm going to use my application called Feedly, and it's showing all of my personal feeds. And let me just show you how they're organized. My feeds are organized by subjects. There's all of them, but then I can have them put into folders. I don't have to look at the information in all my folders each day, but just over the years I've organized sources and subjects into folders. And my folders might be marked law, ABA Journal. So if I want to get all the columns that are coming from the ABA Journal reporters, have them come into there. ALM, columns coming from American Lawyer Media Publications, they're going in there. Above the Law, they're going in there. Articles about Facebook. For a long time I monitored the word just Facebook. I was trying to figure out what Facebook was all about and where it might be going as a company and those type of things. And I monitored the word Facebook. Now you'd say, well, there's way too many articles about Facebook. Well, there are, but Feedly is going to bring in just those that are coming from influential sources. So I didn't find necessarily blogs on Facebook. I just put in the word Facebook and found it. I have general news. I have law firm associations, law schools, publishing, journalism, WordPress, Seattle, tech, software as a solution. I'm monitoring things and I put them into those folders. Now if I want to add content under Feedly, I'm hitting a add content button, and it may come up for suggestions of things that I want to add, but I'm going to go to the top and I'm going to put something in. Let's just say it's cannabis law, but there could even be a particular regulation that relates to cannabis law that would be more specific. And I put in cannabis law and see what, so it comes up and it says, well, here's some potential sources that you may not be familiar with, called Cannabis Law News, Cannabis Law Report, Cannabis Law Professor Blog. Okay, those are sources, publications, if you will. There might be others. And up here, where I did the general search for cannabis law, I could have put the title of a publication. Because if I would have put Canna Law blog, up would have come a particular blog. So I wanted to subscribe to that. And if that comes up, there's the posts that are most popular from Canna Law blog, a publication published by Hillary Bricken, which is a lawyer originally from Seattle, now of Los Angeles, that works with Harris Bricken, well known for their blogging in China law, cannabis law, other matters. But here's her pieces that she's written. So imagine if I want to stay abreast of cannabis legal matters, and I've heard that she has a blog, one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add her blog into my cannabis folder. So if it might say follow that, well, I don't have a cannabis folder. So I'm going to add cannabis plus law. Or I didn't even do, I just put law. I should have just put cannabis. Create. Now there's a folder that Feedly is creating for cannabis. So anything that I want to have on cannabis, if I want to scroll down my content and see that, it's now in there with that source. But let's say I just also said I want to follow the word cannabis law. Feedly's going to come up and it's going to say, do you want to follow keyword alerts for cannabis law? You say, yes, I do. And up's going to come various content, and it's not too bad. It's showing things related, articles relating to cannabis law. It's going to say, do you want to follow that? You say, well, yes, I do. I want to put that in my cannabis folder. So in a matter of, let's say, 15 or 20 minutes, I could find cannabis publications and other words relating to cannabis. Maybe it's zoning, it could be regulations, it could be IP rights, you name it. And what I've done now is I've got a channel in Feedly that relates to cannabis. So if I go back to my content, and I can change the order of them, I've now got that cannabis channel with all my other channels. Now, why is this important for blogging? Well, if I'm going to be blogging on cannabis, and let's say that my state is going to be legalizing cannabis, and I'm a smart lawyer, so I'm going to blog on the future, I'm not going to blog on the present, meaning I'm not going to blog trying to get more work for which everybody is busy working on and try to increase my share of it, which is hard to do. I'm going to go after an area that not other people are going after. So Hillary Bricken went after cannabis law before cannabis law was a big deal by anybody. She's done very well for herself as a result of that. She's blogging to the future. You might be in another state and you're going to say, well, our state is going to be legalizing cannabis and they're going to be doing similar things that Illinois has done and that Washington has done and other states have done. I'm going to start to build a reputation in the area. And so what I'm going to do is start to blog on this area. And so to do that, what I'm going to have to do is follow what's being written by other people. I'm not going to just put news out from what's going on in my state. So I might be following articles that are written anywhere in the country. There might be an article that comes up in, the Chicago Tribune or the Sun Times or St. Louis newspaper or Seattle Times or anywhere. You're just not going to be aware of that unless you're using something like Feedly where you're monitoring the term cannabis and law or other relevant terms. You're also not going to get cited by other legal bloggers around the country unless you're seeing what they're writing about and you're referencing what they're writing about. You're entering into a conversation about what is going on. So when Feedly defines itself, it is talking about customizing the news as a result of what you get and sharing the news. Customizing it can mean perfect example for a blog. I've seen this story, or I've seen this blog post from Hillary Bricken, interesting take about such and such. I'm in, Wisconsin or wherever. I'm referencing what she had to say, citing who she is, and providing my take as to how that might be applicable to my state, or I'm educating myself on issues of cannabis law. I'm entering the conversation with her. She's sitting in Los Angeles. There's no way she could see you, in Madison, Wisconsin. No way. But she will see you if you reach out and you shake her hand by saying, interesting piece by you. Here's my block quote. Here's my take on the issue. She might start to follow your blog in her reader. As she does that, you're going to start to get known because you're going to start to get referenced. And when people are looking at you as a potential lawyer, they Google your name. The least influential thing on them is your website, touting your brilliance and your success and all the things about you. The most important thing about you is how other people look at you that are leaders in the field. If they open it up and they see that somebody like Hillary Bricken is citing you as an authority, or a law professor is citing you as an authority in this area, that is hugely influential. That can only happen if you're using something like Feedly and referencing what a law professor on this subject might be saying, or what Hillary Bricken might be saying, and getting known by these people so that they're starting to follow what you're saying. It is like one giant room, one giant conversation, one giant arena. If you're not using a news aggregator, you're outside the room. You're not inside the room where the conversation is taking place. And people that are hiring lawyers are looking at the people that are getting cited inside the room. The other thing that Feedly works very well as is to be able to share things very easily. And I've met a lot of people because of Feedly. I was on a phone call, I don't know if it was yesterday morning or the morning before, with IE Law School in Madrid, learning about some things they're working on and some things we might be able to help them with. There is no way is it possible for me to be on the phone with somebody in Madrid by just calling them up and saying, I heard you were doing something interesting. Why don't we get on a Zoom call? This is impossible. One, I wouldn't have even heard about it. I wouldn't even thought about it. But because I'm monitoring the term legal tech and legal innovation, I see that they're doing some things that are very innovative, very strong, very good, at least as good as our law schools, if not better. And I became intrigued. So I started sharing some of their things. I shared them directly from Feedly onto Twitter. And I referenced the Twitter handle of the school. The school sees that. We're dancing. They're thanking me for it. I find out who it is that runs the Twitter handle. Very, very, very good communications person for their school. Not only for the law school, but the entire school. Very capable when it comes to communications in general and the use of social media. That happened as a result of that. So what Feedly allows you to do is to go and build relationships with other people. I have a column on Feedly marked bar associations. Why? Because I would like to help bar associations in their work. Well, I don't go out and shake their hand as much as I would like to do that. And quite frankly, if I call them, not all of them call me back because they're very busy. But if I monitor good news that they're sharing about what's going on in their bar association, and I get that in Feedly and I share it, they appreciate that. Anybody would. Wouldn't you like somebody to be saying nice things about you as a lawyer, your law firm, or your company? You bet you would. So all you have to do by using Feedly is follow these people that you want to build business relationships with and share the good news. Because social media is not about you sharing things about yourself. That's kind of ass backwards. Social media is sharing good things about other people, especially when they're touting themselves in a good way. So if I see something from my bar association folder that a bar association is doing, maybe they've got pro bono law firms that are working with people that were arrested in the protests, I would probably share that. And I would mention the bar association that shared that. Sometimes it's the bar president. The bar president in New York has been quite active on issues probably over the last year. And he uses a Twitter handle that I can see. So by sharing it, he likes it. The same thing with the Bar Association president in Florida. So by the time I meet the Bar Association president from Florida the first time, Jon Stewart and I feel a little bit like we know each other. We don't. We hadn't met. But by me sharing information that he was sharing on Twitter, or that the Bar Association in Florida was referencing Jon Stewart, and I'm sharing it because of Feedly, he feels like he knows me. And so if you're looking to build influence through blogging, you've got to enter the conversation. And you're going to need Feedly to be able to do it, because you're going to need to aggregate content to be able to organize it and see the thought leader information. And you're going to be able to share it on your blog, and then you're going to be able to need to share it. Because if you want your blog to get seen, you're going to need to have influencers sharing what you have to say. To get influencers sharing what you have to say, you better share a lot of their stuff. So for me, the only reason that I have any Twitter or followers is because I use a news aggregator. I didn't know what I was doing. I just realized that there were smart CEOs that appeared to be sharing other people's things from a news aggregator, and that appeared to generate followers on Twitter. So what I did was I just shared what I found of interest, that I thought other people might find of interest, and give an attribution to the source, who was sharing, who was the publisher of this news, or whose company was it about, and people seemed to like it. And if I do it on a consistent basis, and I haven't been as good the last year plus, if I do it on a consistent basis, boom, it happens. Share something on legal technology and six companies getting funded. Little did I know that I missed one in Israel, but I found out yesterday because of that tweet that I did. Can that generate an exchange with somebody in Israel as a result? Yeah, it might. And there's some things we could probably do to help them. So you've got to be using a news aggregator to get content for your blog, and you've got to be using it to share things about other people, because as you share things about other people, they're going to begin to follow you on Twitter. And when you then blog about certain things, they're apt to share it. Because one, they're following you, and two, you're a good person. Good people tend to talk about other people first, themselves second. So Feedly's a great application. So I'd suggest, download it on your iPhone or your iPad. It's very easy to use. You can use it on your desktop. There's a freemium model. The free model will probably get you what you need. There's some additional things you get if you pay. It's not that much if you're paying it. And just try it out. And if you're unsure how to use it, just go to YouTube. How do I use Feedly? And before I was even thinking about this today, I think I'll ask those guys to just do a webinar with us, as we've talked about before, so they could do one for the legal community showing how Feedly best could be used. But it's a good company. There used to be an aggregator that Google had. When they closed it down, everybody pretty much jumped on Feedly all at once, and they survived despite almost being crushed by the volume of good business. The last thing I would mention for today on Friday is there's the Black Lives Matter events going on around the country, so find ways to support the efforts there. It's important, it's meaningful. Continue to look for opportunities to join in the Blog for Good campaign. We've never had so many blogs joining LexBlog as we have over the last 2 weeks. Pretty staggering numbers. When Illinois became a participant in the Illinois and Arizona became participants in the Blog for Good campaign, really saw a tremendous jump in the number of new blogs. And the Blog for Good campaign, we've expanded it from the pandemic to social justice issues to every area of the law, because lawyers that are giving of themselves and providing insight and commentary and information in areas of the law that people need it, that is good, and we want to support the Blog for Good campaign. And so for those lawyers that are in states in which there's bar associations are participating, their blogs are free, and they're riding on the most innovative blog platform that we provided. We'll make some changes to it in the next week, but it'll be the same one that I'm using, professional turnkey solution, everything that they'll need to be an extraordinarily successful blogger, and price won't come in between that. If you're not in a participating association, it's only $39. That's something that used to sell for $1,500 plus $200 a month. And it's good stuff. And in addition to just the technology, you'll be included in the LexBlog network, and you'll get all the free support, strategy, and coaching that we can give you. We're there to help you be able to provide real insight and commentary to people. So it just feels like the least we can do in what's going to be some tough times in the days and years ahead as a result of the pandemic and other issues that are challenging our society. And then those states that are coming on board, they're aggregating and curating the content. Not easy to get a hold of everybody. We've had some great calls this week with 2 very large bars, 1 medium-sized bar, about them aggregating and curating the insight and commentary coming from the lawyers in their state, so that people can pick lawyers in a little bit more informed fashion by finding lawyers that are sharing insight and commentary on the subject, and the people in their state can get a rich database of information that's available on myriad types of subjects. So Blog for Good goes on, and it will probably go on for a long time to come. Those of you that are supporting it, very much appreciate you getting behind it and spreading the word. I hope everyone has a great weekend. Take care, and a happy Father's Day.